Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Those Dependers Though. I'm Gigi, your host as always. Before we get started today, it has been brought to my attention that a lot of times I may use military acronyms or military lingo, and a lot of people outside of the military community may not necessarily know what I'm talking about at all or what that means. So I will do my best going forward to try and explain those little things as I go along. And also I will post a separate video of the different acronyms and things like that I'll probably be using more often than not so that you guys can understand what I'm saying, starting with dependopotamus. However, that's for another day. Today's episode is going to be one of my favorite things about the military lifestyle. Naturally, I have tons of them, and those will further be disclosed in other episodes. But today, my number one favorite thing about the military lifestyle is the travel. When I married my husband, he was already stationed on this little island called Okinawa, which is over in Japan. Naturally, I had never been outside of the US before. Actually, no, scratch that. I think I did when I went on a cruise with my parents, but that doesn't count. This was a whole nother world that I was about to enter. And, imagine the culture shock with going from one very large community where everyone speaks English everywhere you go. It's not even a second thought in your mind, to this other large community where virtually no one speaks much English. So it was definitely a very strange change of pace, but it was one of the most amazing changes ever in my life. I don't regret it for a second. When I got there, I got a job on base. And I actually made a lot of friends with a lot of locals who worked on base and spoke English really well, which in turn opened up a whole new avenue to me, because then I was able to go off base with them. And of course, they speak the language. So they explained different things to me, and I got to try lots of different foods. I got to, do karaoke for the first time. I didn't necessarily understand how the machine worked, but they did. So that was definitely a plus. So the point of today's episode, for the most part, is if you join the military, don't stay inside your little bubble. Get out into the world. There's so many people who would love to have this opportunity, and the military actually provides it for you. I mean, what good is it if you don't experience something new? I mean, come on, it's great. There are so many different places that you read about in books or that you see about on the Travel Channel, and it's like, oh my gosh, I would love to go to Italy, or I would love to go to Germany. I mean, some people even would love to go to Japan. It was never on my list of places that I ever thought that I would want to go to, or really ever on my list of places that I didn't think that I wanted to see. But after living there and experiencing something so entirely different, something so phenomenal, I could never go back. So if you're thinking about joining the military, or you are joining the military, or you're marrying someone who is already in the military, definitely encourage them to step outside of the box. Think big. The world is so large, and when you're in the military, it's kind of your oyster with the opportunities that you get to explore. Go see South Korea. Don't go to North Korea. I mean, you can try, but they're not really gonna let you over there. And enjoy your time while you're in. Don't let anything stop you, especially a language barrier. In the end, you're definitely going to love it, and you'll be a much better person for it, at least more well-rounded. Anyway, that concludes today's episode of My Favorite Things About the Military Lifestyle. I hope you'll join us for our next episode, where I explain the military lingo that I've been using, such as PCS and dependopotamus and a bunch of other stuff. Thanks for joining us, guys. Follow us on Instagram.